Lost? Lost? Magnus lost?
And what?
Unprecedented. I can't believe it. Did that just happen, Peter?
It's finally happened. The rematch we've been waiting a year and a half for. Now, those clips were taken from September 2022, the last time that Magnus Carlsen and Hans Niemann played a game of chess, online or over the board. And as we saw there, Magnus resigned after one move in protest because he refused to play Hans Niemann. He'd just withdrawn from a major chess tournament, the Sinkfield Cup, 2 weeks earlier, then accused Niemann of cheating. A lawsuit kicked off, rumbled on, was eventually dropped. Magnus got fined by FIDE, the international governing body of chess, for withdrawing from a tournament without a valid reason. And now here we come to today, January 2024. It's the 30th of January, and these guys were finally paired against each other in the prestigious weekly Blitz chess tournament on chess.com titled Tuesday. It's round 10 of the early event. Magnus is with white, and in honour of this game, both players, in a show of fantastic sportsmanship, decided to strip naked. Rumour has it Magnus started it, just ripped off his clothes, dashed them to the floor. Niemann followed suit, did a full body scan on himself, cavity search. They wanted no funny business this game. Both players sit down, starkers. Magnus has got a leather seat apparently. That's going to be uncomfortable, but they did it for the fans. This game then kicked off. What a treat we're in for here. This is Blitz chess. We get pawn to king 4, pawn to king 5, and now knight to king bishop 3. Just kidding, we're not going to do the whole game in descriptive notation, but shout out to the older generation. If you still score like that, let me know in the comments below. We now get knight c6. This is algebraic notation that we all know and love. We've been using this now globally since the 80s. Bishop b5 played, the Roy Lopez. Knight f6, the Berlin defense, a stalwart system for black. Now castles, no d3 to defend the centre, different variation. It allows this pawn to drop. And now if you go d4, this is the famous or infamous, depending how you look at it, variation where the queens come off the board and you get the Berlin endgame. But not today. Magnus centralises his rook, his cannon blasting down. So the knight retreats, hits this bishop on b5, but Magnus doesn't move it. He takes on e5. Has the world Blitz champion lost his marbles? Well, no. If you capture the bishop, then the knight takes here. With discoveries, you lose the queen because this is check. So, bishop e7 blocks the e-file, and now this little piggy retreats all the way home. Wee, but no tickle under the armpit. They are completely starkers, remember. Bare of clothes. That one back on f1. Now we see knight takes on e5. Rook recaptures, castles, d4, natural stuff, and bishop f6. Get out of my territory. The rook retreats back. Rook e8 challenges that open file. c3 played, bolsters the centre. Magnus sets up a lovely slip and slide pawn formation over here. We get rook captures. Queen takes back, and now look at this knight here. It's gone travelling. It's been on its journey from g8 to f6 to e4 to d6. The traveller is now blocking the pawns, and he's forced to return meekly home, sandwiched between mum and dad. Penniless, his travels in Australia and Europe and Canada and New Zealand over. He's back to the real world. Got to get back out there and find a real job. Can he make it here? So we get bishop f4 from Magnus. d5 played, bishop d3, and now hang on. g6 on the board. A glimmer of hope for our traveller. Can he re-enter the real big wide world? We get knight d2 developing and bishop g7. CVs out there, emails sent, cover letters galore. Can he get an interview? We've got knight f3 played, bishop f5. Hang on a minute. Magnus takes, and hurrah for our traveller. He re-enters the game, finds himself a job. Night watchman over here. A sedentary position, yes, but it pays okay. You get public holidays, and you've got to keep an eye on the dark squares in this particular role. Well done to the traveller. We get Queen E2, preparing to dominate the open file. C6 played, Rook E1, and now look at this. The knight here, our wandering traveller, doesn't pass his probation. Sent back packing. He's back in with dad. What are you doing back here? Get out of the house. Back into the real world. Sorry, dad. We get bishop e5, knight e6. The traveller back on his way. What can he do from here? Bishop takes on f6. Queen recaptures. Knight e5, rook e8, and now knight g4 hits that queen. It slides back to d8, and no, you're kidding me. More problems for the traveller. He backpedals. Back in with dad. He's on his last warning. As you can tell, it's a fairly dry game here. We had to create some kind of story, right? But stick with me, because the ending is hilarious. Now, Magnus does something very special here to the untrained eye. What piece would you sacrifice if asked to sacrifice a piece in a spectacular way? Well, yes, well done. Anytime you're looking at a puzzle, look for a queen sack. There it goes on e8. Yes, the traveller has finally done his bit. He's back in between mum and dad, but he's done a great job getting rid of Magnus, all up in Hans's grill. But here's the trap. Queen recaptures, and you check with the knight. The piece is getting hoovered off the board, or vacuumed as you'd say in the States, right? We get f4, f5. Both players doing a bit of bomb cloud practice with the kings. We're into an endgame. Why would Hans go into an endgame with the endgame goat? Okay, there's no pieces. Then again, Hans is the blitz beast, remember? Gonna be overlord of the world one day. Well, let's see how it develops from here. Because now king e6, king e3, b5. Hans goes for some high five action. Bit of patty cake with Magnus. He doesn't want to play. Sidesteps the king. King f6, king g3. And now look at this. Best part's coming. These kings start shuffling. We need some party rock anthem in here. They're shuffling all over the board. We get a few more king moves, couple more pawn pushes. Magnus brings this one to g3, and now look, Magnus starts shuffling the king back and forth between these squares, but for some reason Hans does not do the same to force a threefold repetition. He starts going for a wonder. But rumour has it that the beat here of the king moves, just tapping away on the board like a metronome, suddenly inspired Magnus. He leaps up out of his chair, begins doing a jig round the room whilst he's playing. Such a beautiful beat of the king marching. Even his father, Henrik Carlsen, comes into the room, joins him. They're dancing everywhere. Hans is stream sniping. He sees what's going on. He jumps up, he starts dancing wildly, singing in about 5 different languages that he's picked up on his chess travels in various countries, all with perfect accent here. They're all dancing wildly round the room like men round a campfire. Finally, the fun has to stop, however. All things must come to an end, and the game is a draw in this position. Look at the clock times on the left here, both well over 3 minutes, and they started with 3 minutes, but they got time back per move. Move 87. We finally get a peaceful result. I don't know if one of them offered it or it was some kind of threefold. No clue. But the result was a draw, and this was then the final standings of the tournament. Wow, they finally played a game. There you go. I hope you enjoyed this one. Thanks very much for watching. Smash subscribe if you love these videos. Like if you're feeling generous. Really helps me out. And for another epic game from Magnus Carlsen, check out the video on the screen. Thanks a lot for watching, and see you soon.